Going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our March Lunch and Learn. I'm Amanda with the Nevada Housing Coalition, and as always, have just a couple of announcements for all of you. I want to give a heads up to our coalition members to save the date for July 20th and 23rd. We will be hosting our policy forums, one in Reno, one in Las Vegas. So if you're interested in housing policy and want to help us shape priorities for the 2027 legislative session, please put those dates on your calendar. We will have registration opening for that soon. And another reminder, our conference is coming up this year, September 23rd and 24th in Reno. And if you are interested in sponsoring, we do have sponsorship opportunities available. I will put a link in the chat for that. And if you are interested in presenting at this year's conference, we will be launching our call for proposals within the next week or so. So please keep an eye on your emails for that. And now I would like to turn this session over to this month's moderator, Grant McCandless. He is the president and CEO of Social Impact Consultants. Welcome, Grant.
Thank you. Thanks, Amanda. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, my name is Grant McCandless, and I'm a proud member of the Coalition's Policy Committee, going on 3 years now. And in that time, my company is also pleased to have done research for a number of members of this coalition, including Help of Southern Nevada, HopeLink, the Reno Housing Authority, and the coalition itself. Most recently, we completed a study of Nevada's rental and home ownership market. And this spring, we'll be exploring policy options for increasing revenue for affordable housing in our state. But enough about us. Let me introduce today's presenters who are on the front lines doing the work, beginning with Martin Montgomery. Martin is the executive director of the Washoe Housing Authority, leading a multi-million-dollar housing operation, and has extensive experience weaving together tribal, federal, and state funds to bring new homes and community facilities online. His work ranges from federal emergency funding to tax credit developments, and so he brings a great perspective on how housing authorities turn complex funding into real projects. Take it away, Martin.
Thank you, Grant. Hunga Maheji, Martin Montgomery, Digam de Lei. Good afternoon, friends and relatives. My name is Martin Montgomery. Thank you, Grant, for the introduction. I'm an enrolled member of the Washoe tribe. And for those of you who may not be familiar with the Washoe tribe, our indigenous homelands are all of Lake Tahoe, surrounding the eastern and western slopes, and northern and southern slopes as well. Primarily, we serve tribal members within the northern Nevada area, but we do have some tribal members that live in California as well as other states. So we and around the world, as a matter of fact. So we've had tribal members one that lived in Germany for still continues to live in Germany, all the way to just our local regions. So we're always in trying to find as many ways and opportunities to create housing for our tribal members throughout primarily Nevada, but California as well. So we have a PowerPoint here with some slides and some information I'd love to share with everybody today. And so we'll just kind of move through those. So again, this is some information about us. So Washoe Housing Authority, this is our mission statement. The Washoe Housing Authority will work from a consistent core set of principles, including integrity, trust, communication, capacity to improve, and dedication to those we serve. The Washoe Housing Authority promotes safe, sanitary, affordable, and healthy homes for tribal members and Native Americans within our service area. This is our organizational chart. I won't go through every piece of it, but just to kind of share a little bit about the structuring of the tribal organization here. So, just to kind of correlate that to some of our, members and other folks online. So our tribal council is really, it's an own municipality within the county or within the states that we serve. And so they're able to govern the tribe through tribal self-governance. And where that kind of falls into our organization here with the Washoe Housing Authority, we're an entity of the tribe, and so we do have a board of commissioners like many other organizations throughout the state, and so that's kind of what governs our operations day to day throughout the year. And then we actually just had an exciting opportunity to work with our tribal council on some new plans for a 3, 5, and 10-year planning period. And so that's how we're able to sort of outline what sort of programs and projects and future development that we're going to have and for at least the next 10 years. And that does include new development. And so like the ones I'm going to share, we actually just finalized the most recent 10-year plan. And so we're excited to start moving forward with where we're going to go next. So these are our funding sources as they are currently. So we have our Indian Housing Block Grant, which is our regular meat and potatoes, our formula funding that we get through HUD every year, depending on when Congress approves the budget and we move through with being able to get that allocation. It does vary from year to year a little bit. So I'm assuming other tribal programs and other housing authorities probably have that same type of, figure out when we're going to get our regular funding. But sometimes it's as early as March all the way to 1 year. I think we didn't get our annual funding until August. And so it kind of depends on, the way of the inner workings of Congress and getting things finalized there, and then money sent through HUD. But we also have our Indian Housing Block Grant Competitive Program. So this is one, if you're not familiar, HUD actually had some funding some years ago that they developed into a competitive application for tribes to be able to apply for additional funding. And so we actually were a recipient of the 2024 award where we got $5 million. It's an additional grant that we're doing some infrastructure with for 30 more lots and hopefully 30 more houses in the southern Carson City area in the Stewart community. And so that's actually that project we're getting rolled out this summer. And we have our Indian Housing Block Grant American Rescue Plan. I know a lot of everybody's familiar with the ARPA fund, so we got our funding, and we just closed out this, but that helped assist in the project that I'll be describing with our tax credit, which was very helpful for being able to help use some of that as some gap financing for the project. We have our homeowner assistance funds, or HAF. A lot of folks around the country have gotten those as well. But this has been tremendous in assisting our tribal membership for things like their mortgage payments, their mortgage assistance, through insurance, utilities, things like that. Also, the main area has been habitability. So being able to help our tribal members with their homes. A lot of their homes are 40, 50 years old, and they're starting to have a lot of these major issues with those houses. And so being able to do things like getting their breaker panels, rebuilt, or even flooring deficiencies, all the way up to new roofs where they might not have had those resources in the past. And our program is sometimes limited on some of those abilities to help our homeowners versus our renters. And so that's been a tremendous assistance to our communities. Our Homings Nevada initiative. So we were the only tribe that was awarded that award in 2024 as well, 23, excuse me. And so that's what did the first portion of our infrastructure. And then we have some funding remaining to do a water tank that we're hoping to get rolled out this summer as well to help support the water system in Stewart in the southern Carson City area. And then we have our Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco affordable housing program. That's been a big part of our gap financing as well for our tax credit project that we're wrapping up currently. And then we also got an extension, which was through the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco Tribal Nations Program. Both of those gave us $800,000 a piece, which was a great relief to being able to get things done that were in sort of those minor scopes of the project that we're wrapping up. And then lastly is our tax credit program. And then I'll go through the next slide because it has some outlines of sort of the funding that we're all put together. And this one is just related to our regular everyday meat and potatoes programs that we have. So through our Indian Housing Plan, or IHP as we call it here. So we have our current assistance stock. These are our rental units. And you can kind of see on the upper right-hand screen where we broke out the the number of units. So altogether, we have 102 rental units through 4 communities. And so this is kind of outlining the funding that we have, but primarily in this middle section here, the tenant-based assistance programs, those are ones that we're able to utilize for our tribal membership that are living off the reservation or with outside of our communities. And so this is things like transitional housing, security deposit, eviction prevention, down payment assistance. And then we have what's we're able to use on and off the communities, which is our elder utility subsidy. That's a huge one because a lot of our population now currently is over age, elder age, retirement age folks. It takes the 20, 30 years to pay off your home. Now you're at that point of retirement, so they're unlimited incomes. And so being able to come in and utilize this to pay their propane or maybe their electric bill or natural gas bill, things like that, it's up to $800 a year that our tribal community elders are able to utilize, which is huge. So we definitely utilize that program quite a bit. Our conveyed health and safety program. This is actually a program that I wrote when I came on as the director. It really hadn't been in place in terms of eligibility through HUD, but it has since then. And this one allows our homeowners the opportunity to get up to $1,500 for assistance for health and safety related activities. So maybe their refrigerator goes out, their stove goes out, maybe their furnace, if it doesn't cover the full cost, it can help pay for the majority of that, and then they're responsible for the rest. I like to take, concerns and questions and even frustrations from our community members and try to find a resolve or a way that we can kind of mold our programming a little bit to help assist with some of those things. Sometimes people come in and they're upset or they're frustrated. You guys never helped us with this, or how come you can't help me with that? And so, I take that and I try to turn it into, a way of programming that we can utilize. And it's not just for that one individual, but maybe many families. And so that's kind of how that conveyed health and safety request came up, and since we wrote the program and the guidelines for it, and HUD has approved it every year, we have the opportunity to make that eligible for our community members. Acquisition of previously conveyed homes. So sometimes we have houses that are paid off, somebody's going to move, or they got a house somewhere else and they want to sell it back to us. That's another one. Or we've done this for purchase of homes off the communities, within the city or even other states. And so that one has been helpful. Application to supportive services. So this is everything else when we do things like those 504, 502 referral programs, our 184 referral programs, and things like that. So working with our trial members to help them secure either a rental or maybe a home through a loan program. Okay, so this is our big project that we've been working on. This has been 3 years of moving to completion. So we just kind of wanted to share a little bit. We did have a tax credit project previously. So in 2015, we were awarded a little over $3 million for a tax credit. And this is in our Hung LLT or our Woodford's community up in Alpine, so on the California side. And then we also got a solar allowance there. And so totaling 3.1 and some change. And so we were able to take 24 houses, completely renovate them. And then we did some additions to them as well, where we added a bedroom space, or we may have converted a carport to a garage. And that one is actually, coming up here on year 11. So we're getting close to year 15, which is great. We also were able to build a community building with some of those funds. And so now there's a brand new community building for the community's use and there's all kinds of stuff, birthdays. And, I think we had a wedding there one time, and there's ongoing community opportunities for educational purposes for youth and adult programming. And then that moves into our Stewart Litech project, our current one. So we just, the last year, we have been moving families in. So we have 20 new units in the Stewart community on the south side of Carson City, right next to the freeway. And so we applied in 2022. We were awarded 7.6 and some change for the regular tax credit, and then we applied for the Homeings Nevada initiative. Initially it was 4.5, but we did a second request for some additional assistance, and then we got an extra 365,000 for that. And then we have the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco funds and the Tribal Nations program. That's the 1.6 that you see there. And then we also tied our ARPA funds together with our IHBG to that was our basic leverage dollars, and then what we've committed so far. So we've done 1.5 for a grand total of 16.7 million. The great thing for this whole project is, traditionally speaking, if we were just relying on our IHBG dollars, we would never be able to build 20 houses in a new community building for $1.5 million. It just wouldn't. I mean, that's unrealistic, right? So the great benefit to all of this has been utilizing the tax credit program, as well as the additional funding that came through the Homeings Nevada initiative, and as well as the affordable housing programs through the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco. It just tying all those dollars together is what really has made this huge impact to our communities. Overall, we haven't seen construction of this size, 20 houses and a new community building, in probably 30 years, versus our first tax credit where we already had the houses and we were just renovating them. So new homes, new community, new infrastructure, and then that lends itself to our this year's project of being able to add 30 more lots with infrastructure to this area, so we can have a grand total of 50 houses in the future. So that's part of the next phases of planning for our new 3, 5, and 10-year plan. And so right now we're just finishing up our kind of like last walkthrough punch list stuff on our community building, and we're hoping that we'll be able to open it up here in the next few weeks, and then that part of our project is all completed, and we're excited. It's been a huge undertaking, a 3-year project, but to be able to get to this point, to be able to share all of that is wonderful. I'm couldn't be prouder as a community member, but somebody who's been involved in helping to get to this point of fruition. We went from all the planning to now we have 20 families moving into brand new homes, and they're beautiful, updated, current, state of the art houses. And so it's been a wonderful program. Next slide, please. So we just wanted to share a couple of pictures with you all. So here on the upper left, you can see it was just dirt. There was nothing there before. This is after the first rough grade, all the way to starting to set some of the foundations. And then you can see when we started going vertical with it. It's amazing, as you all know, to see, going from dirt to just now there's a house standing there. Next slide, please. And then you can start to see some of the, formation of the houses and where the streets are going in. This was right when we did our ribbon cutting on the bottom here, when we actually had the houses in place. And then we had the ribbon cutting where the picture was taken from. And so next slide. And then now you can see the completed community there. There's a little bit of, I think, some landscaping that we were doing on the left-hand picture. But this is the greatest picture of all on the right-hand side. The street was lit up over Christmas. We have a lights contest thing that we do for our communities. And it's just kind of a way to promote, like the holidays and things. But we drove through and there's some judging that happens for the houses. And it feels really good to see families living in a brand new community, new houses, and they go above and beyond to dress up their community, to dress up their homes. And it was really great to see all of that. So I just made myself and our board members feel really good to know that we've been a part of this whole project, and it motivates me too to like, what can we do next, and where are we going to go next with our new construction. So I believe that's the last of them. Oh, no, this is a community building, sorry. So yeah, we're just finalizing the last parts of it, but it's got a computer lab on the left-hand side there, and then an office for staff on the right-hand side, and then the community building is open. Side, the bottom picture, that's the kitchen. On the left, right-hand side of the kitchen would be the restrooms. That's in a shared hallway there, but just wanted to share a little bit of that. We're excited. It's been a lot of work, but on the other hand, the benefits are just being able to see our community come together. You know, in our tribal community, there's a lot of stuff that happens here. I'll take one quick example. When a child is born, after 1 month of that child being in, you know, of their birth, we have a big community dinner, and it's a welcoming for all the community to come and meet the child, and that usually happens in our community buildings. So, and it's a big dinner. It's a, you know, kind of like a first birthday, I guess, or welcoming, but it's really one that, you know, sets the precedent that this is a new loved one in our communities and a new member of the community. And so having a community building like that is going to be beneficial all the way around. So, um, but yeah, that's all of the stuff we're currently working on up to the new projects that will be rolling out this summer.
Thank you, Martin. Those are great projects. Thank you for sharing those with us. And to the audience, if you have any questions for Martin or the following three presenters, please put those in the chat, or if you know how to use the Q&A section on Zoom, you can do that as well. Next, we'll hear from Dr. Hilary Lopez. Hilary is the Executive Director of the Reno Housing Authority. And, oh, sorry, my bio for Hilary disappeared. Getting that back. Hilary is the executive director of the Reno Housing Authority and brings deep experience in both state level housing programs and complex affordable housing finance to her leadership of RHA's public and affordable housing, voucher, and resident services work. Hilary, please.
Great, thank you. And I'm gonna hopefully share. Okay, did that work? Great. Well, thank you for having me. And as mentioned, I'm Dr. Hilary Lopez. I'm the Executive Director for the Reno Housing Authority, and it's great to be here today. I've been involved with the coalition for a long time, and just want to congratulate Martin on that beautiful project as well. Before I provide an overview on the Reno Housing Authority, I was asked to just spend a moment kind of talking about Nevada's other three housing authorities for those who may be less familiar with our agencies. Hopefully, perfect. Did it advance on your side? Great. So for those who are less familiar with Nevada's public housing authorities, we have, aside from Martin's agency, we have three public housing authorities, or PHAs as we're known. The Reno Housing Authority, which I represent, which serves Washoe County, the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority, which serves Clark County, and then Nevada Rural Housing Authority, which serves the balance of counties. And while we provide numerous similar services, as you can see from the slide, each agency also has specialty programs which really allow us to best meet the needs of our local community. The three agencies work together, sharing our best practices, educating around joint challenges and issues, and then supporting each other's efforts. All three of our agencies will be speaking briefly today, but I would definitely encourage anyone who's interested in learning more to visit any of our websites. All of us operate our programs slightly differently, and so the best information is either going to be on our websites or to reach out to our agencies directly. And so with that, I am excited to share more about the Reno Housing Authority. The Reno Housing Authority has been serving our community for over 80 years. So we were created in 1943. We were originally created by the city of Reno, but through resolution, we actually serve the entirety of Washoe County, and we are overseen by a board of commissioners. Through RHA and our subsidiary, Washoe Affordable Housing Corporation, we help ensure decent, safe, and affordable housing for about 11,000 Nevadans annually through our public housing programs, our other affordable housing communities, our housing choice voucher programs, and then the contract administration that we do through Washoe Affordable Housing Corporation. We are Nevada's only MTW designated agency, and our HUD MTW designation really enables us to implement various demonstration projects, which after we test them, helps to inform HUD in their public housing voucher and related programs at the national level. So, for example, we had added a landlord liaison and piloted some landlord incentive programs for our housing choice voucher several years ago using our MTW flexibility. And through some of those programs, then HUD is able to see what best practices could be rolled out nationally to other housing authorities. So while many people know us for our public and our other affordable housing programs, part of RHA's mission is also to help those that we assist move towards economic independence and self-sufficiency. And so as part of that, we provide what we call pathways to prosperity through our resident service opportunities. And this includes everything from early foundations, educational programs for our youngest residents, all the way through Golden Connections programs, which really focus on social interaction and wellness for our seniors. Amanda had asked us to kind of identify some challenges, and I'm assuming that these are similar challenges that our other agencies are also facing. They probably don't come as that much of a surprise to this audience, but they range from things like funding, funding challenges to program changes to construction costs, which impact our ability to either preserve or create new units, and then meeting demand. So we work diligently to get through our wait lists as quickly as possible so that we could assist as many families in our community as quickly as we can. So with that, I want to highlight some of the activities that we have going on right now, one of which is our preservation effort. So as part of our effort to ensure that the Reno Housing Authority's housing is available for generations to come, we have undertaken comprehensive renovations at 4 of our properties. 3 of these properties, Silverado Manor, McGraw Silver Sage, and then Stead, provide rental assistance for all of the units through federal public housing assistance or project-based vouchers. And we could complete these in large part because of the state's allocation of Home Means Nevada initiative funds, and we were very fortunate to receive funding for these projects. In total, through these projects, we have invested just over $187 million between public and private funds into our community, and are preserving or creating over 460 apartment homes. And I just want to also point out that we currently have our public housing wait lists open. So if there are those in our community that are currently looking for housing, I would encourage you to go to our website and join our wait list. I also wanted to highlight specifically the village at Hawkview. This is a really exciting development because not only will the authority be replacing 100 units of functionally obsolete public housing, but we're also able through this development to add another 99 units of new affordable housing for families with incomes up to 80% of area median income within our community. The 100 replacement public housing units will continue to receive rental assistance through project-based vouchers, thereby preserving the critical rental assistance funding for our community. And this development, which we have undertaken in partnership with Brinshore Development as our master developer, is also exciting because it includes a mix of housing types. So we'll have larger scale multifamily buildings, garden style walk-ups, and townhomes. Which is the first time that we're able to do that all in one project. And I'm really happy to mention that phase one will begin leasing this fall and that it'll be professionally managed by Reno Housing Authority. In terms of new developments, we know that there's a need for over 1,100 permanent supportive housing units in Washoe County right now. And so we're extremely glad that we're able to move forward with Hope Landing, which will provide 15 purpose-built permanent supportive housing units, which will create next step housing with wraparound services for those who are either exiting the CARES campus shelter or experiencing homelessness. And our newly proposed Reno Avenue development will add 42 new apartments in a high opportunity neighborhood in Reno that is close to various amenities, schools, and public transit. And then we had acquired I Street in partnership with Sparks, with the city of Sparks, and we are looking at that for more future new development. Aside from our housing, I also want to just take a moment to highlight some of RHA's unique service programs, which help us meet our mission, as well as our board goals of breaking the cycle of poverty and promoting health and wellness for those that we assist. Start Smart is a great program. It encourages and works with RHA's teen residents and provides workshops and educational enhancement. It helps our teen residents and provides access to financial incentives and scholarships. And this is another example of the type of programming that we could do because of our MTW designation, which enables us to use our funding in non-traditional ways. So as shown on the prior slide, since 2022, when we started the program, we have had 59 participants, 20 of which have already graduated the program, and all of which have continued their education or gone on to trade school. So we're extremely proud of that. We have had 10 which have also since enrolled in our adult workforce development programs. We have been able to provide 9 graduates with each with a $10,000 scholarship towards continuing their studies, either at Truckee Meadows Community College or UNR or another program of their choice. I also wanted to just mention our Golden Connections program. So these really provide resources, referrals, other types of social engagement opportunities for our seniors and households with disabilities, as well as appropriate supports. And specifically wanted to highlight our Golden Markets program, which is available really to those age 55 plus in the community, but we don't turn anyone away. And this really helps to combat food insecurity and ensure that our seniors have access to fresh produce, fresh meat, and shelf-stable items. It's located at our Tom Sawyer public housing property. As mentioned, it's geared towards those 55 and over, but is open to the whole community. We don't turn anyone away. We operate it the second and fourth Tuesday of each month, starting at 9 a.m. And it's really made possible through partnerships with Food Bank of Northern Nevada, the Reno Food Co-op, some of our RHA funding, and then other donations. And in total, since we've opened, we've been able to provide almost 49,000 pounds of food, which equates to over 40,000 meals. So I just wanted to kind of finish up by talking about some upcoming work. And so as we, are continuing our efforts to bring more affordable housing to our community for our lower income families, veterans, seniors, disabled households, and others in need, we really do plan to continue to expand our efforts over the coming year. Part of that includes allocating project-based vouchers to community partners to support permanent supportive housing units throughout our community, leasing our new units as they come online at our developments. We recently stood up 2 nonprofit subsidiaries, and so we're looking to use those so that we could access new funding sources to further expand and support our workforce development and other service programs. And then we are continuing to work with HUD to implement a direct rental assistance demonstration project. And then there's more. I know that we're limited on time, so I just wanted to go ahead and highlight those things. I am available for any questions afterwards. And then I would also say we are on social media. So please either visit us at our website, or you could search for Reno Housing Authority on social media to keep informed on all of the great work that our agency is doing.
Thank you, Hillary. Those are exciting projects. Our third presenter is Frank Stafford, Development and Modernization Director at the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority. With nearly 3 decades of experience in preserving and building thousands of public and affordable housing units. Frank has led major preservation, redevelopment, and new construction efforts across Southern Nevada, including some of the state's most significant affordable housing projects. Frank?
Greetings, everybody. And on behalf of our Executive Director, Louis Jordan, I bring greetings to you from the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority. So let me get my presentation up and get this started. Oops. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
You can?
Yes, we're good.
Okay. Let's see if I can get the edges off there. Okay, so I'll try to get through this because I know we're getting short on time. I want to thank Hillary and Martin for their presentations. Those were very informative. And as I said, I'm with the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority, and I'll just kind of highlight some of the opportunities what we're doing to increase housing. Just to give you a brief introduction, the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority was formed in January of 2010. Originally, we had 3 housing authorities down here in Southern Nevada, with the Las Vegas Housing Authority, which is where I started, the Housing Authority of Clark County, and the North Las Vegas Housing Authority. So through a consolidation in 2010, the 3 housing authorities merged, and we have approximately 279 budgeted positions with an annual budget of about $257 million. The Housing Authority has 4 pillars that were provided by our Executive Director, Louis Jordan, and trust me, we try to put emphasis on all of those pillars, and the staff has been doing a great job of doing that. For this presentation, I'm going to focus on the housing opportunities and just highlight some of the projects we've done just to try to create and expand on affordable housing in Southern Nevada. Excuse me. So just a brief overview. The Housing Authority of the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority has 13,000 plus housing choice vouchers spread throughout Clark County. Those include vouchers such as emergency, mainstream vouchers, advanced vouchers for veterans, and project-based vouchers. In addition, we have the 235 tenant protection vouchers for our Marble Manor C&I development project, which I'll discuss later. In our portfolio, we have our public as well as our affordable housing. There's roughly 4,811 units over 18 developments, serving AMIs from 30 up to 80%. And what's unique about our affordable housing program is that part of our public housing agency does not rely on federal aid from HUD. It's basically a self-maintained program. These are just some of the projects that we've been working on, and these all go back over the last, what, I think Jamestown Towers we started in 2022. So the last 4 years, we've been juggling 10 major projects. Jamestown Towers and Hullum Homes were both preservation. Those were, public housing developments that we had. We went in and did a complete gut rehab so that we could extend the life on these developments for another 25, 40 years or so. We just recently closed on those two projects. Jamestown Towers being a senior development with 200 units, and Hullum Homes being a family development with 59 units. And this project, Wardell Street Townhouses, was actually done about 5 years ago. But I always like to kind of talk about this project because this shows the type of work that you can do when you're doing, public-private as well as municipality cooperation. Wardell Street Townhouses is a family development, which we have 57 units. What was unique about it was that we did several land swaps and deals with the city of Las Vegas, as well as the Clark County Las Vegas Library District. And the Housing Authority had property at this corner. We had about 9 acres on one site and roughly 8 acres on the other one. Part of that collaboration was we were able to work with the library and create a state-of-the-art library facility that also has like a job center inside. And the city of Las Vegas came in with a Strong Start Academy, which is an academy that serves elementary school children, provides health services from the health district. And of course, having all those facilities right there together helps the residents that we're providing housing for, as well as the community. I mentioned Jamestown Towers and Hullum Homes earlier. These were the two projects that we just finished, and I'll just kind of go through that since I talked about it already. And the next projects that I'm going to focus on are mostly the projects that we're doing through our Home East Nevada funds, as well as our Clark County Community Housing Funds. Between those two initiatives, the Housing Authority was able to secure $75 million in funds. And with those funds, we were able to preserve 100 units, which Janice Brooks Bay is our preservation project, but we'll also be creating 452 new units. So our Janice Brooks Bay is currently under construction. You see the top picture there. Those are the 5 buildings that we recently got C of O's on, and we are leasing them. And the bottom picture, you can kind of see one of the old units over in the background, as well as we're developing a new office, activity center, learning center, computer aid on that property. This property has been under construction, and we're ready to hopefully complete that by August of this year. This particular developer here is our Reverend Marion Bennett Apartments. It's actually phase 2 of a 65 unit development that we did back in 2011, but we had about 1.5 acres left on that site, and we took those Home East Nevada and Clark County Community Housing Funds to develop this new 3-story building. It will also serve senior residents, and construction, as you can see, is moving right along with completion saying September 26th, but by the looks of it, we should be able to beat that, hopefully. Another senior development that we're working on is the Senator Joe M. Neal Apartments. This is a 192 unit development. We originally had our Rose Gardens project, which was a North Las Vegas public housing facility on this particular lot. That project was demolished back in 2018. We were able to build a new 120 unit development across the street from it, which you can't see in these photos. And all the residents that lived in the old Rose Gardens moved across the street to that new one. And now we're coming back on this site with a larger development that's going to provide more services and help put a dent in the severe need that we have for affordable housing in our region. This project is one of several that we're utilizing the HUD Restore Rebuild Positioning Tool, which many of us know as Fairclough to Rad. Uh, that project was going to allow us to do is we'll have 30 HUD units, public housing units on it, which at closing, we'll start to convert those over to project-based vouchers. And then we also have an additional, I take that back, 60 HUD units that we'll convert to project-based vouchers. And we also have an additional 60 project-based voucher units on this development. And then the remaining 72 units will be strictly LIHTC units, low-income housing tax credits. This project is our largest. It started a little bit later, but we're still shooting to complete it by August of 27. And these last couple of months, we've seen some major changes in this site. This development here is a 80-unit family development. It's our Bills Henderson Point development. And we just renamed this development after two of our longtime civil rights leaders that actually lived on the historic West Side, and they fought for rights to, for equal rights for citizens. So we thought it was appropriate to name this development after them. It's an 80-unit new construction family development. Also use the HUD Restore Rebuild repositioning tool. This unit has 30 project-based voucher units. It will have 30 public housing units, which will be immediately converted over to RAD, and then 20 units that will be LIHTC units. Similarly, we have our Golson Landing developments, which was recently renamed after a former executive director of the City of Las Vegas Housing Authority, Mr. Thomas Golson. It's a 21 unit new construction facility. That makeup is 30 Fairclough to RAD, Restore Rebuild units, which will convert to RAD, 30 project-based voucher units, and then the remaining 61 units will be LIHTC units. This project is acquiring C of Os, and we're going to start turning units over by the end of this month through August of this year. Sartini Plaza is one of our public housing development. It's a 220-unit senior development. We had some additional funds from Clark County, so we're getting a head start to do some work at this building where we'll be going in and doing some work in the bathrooms, replacing HVAC systems, roofing all of the windows. But the main goal is that we will be submitting an application to convert this under our Section 18 RAD blend, and basically totally gut and redo this project. It was built in 1983, so as you can tell, a lot of systems are getting tired and it needs a makeover. And our last project I'll talk about is our Choice Neighborhood Initiative, which is our Marble Manor development, which is on the historic West Side. The Housing Authority received a $50 million Choice Implementation Grant for this development back in 2024. The site had 235 public housing units. We've already started the demolition process where 56 of those units have been demolished, as well as 3 non-dwelling buildings. And we recently started underground work for phase 1 of that development. I have some renderings of what the final development is going to look like in phase 1, which will have 138 units. They'll have some retail space. There'll be like the bottom floor. If you look at this unit at the top, that bottom floor will be retail, and then units, of course, at top. This will be done over an 8-year period. It's going to be 627 units altogether. We'll have different income levels where, the 235 public housing units, families will have the right to come back. There'll be other project-based voucher units. And then we'll have 100 or so unrestricted income units, which are basically market rate for some of you. And that's all requirements of the CNI, the way the project is set up. As I mentioned, we've already did the demolition of the first phase. We have a demolition contract that we're evaluating to start demolition on phase 2. which hopefully that work will be starting roughly this summer, have that section demolished by August or so. And we're working already with an architect to complete the design for phase 2 rebuild, as well as we've engaged an architect for phase 3. So we're kind of fast tracking this, even though we have 8 years that goes by really fast. So things are moving. And what I would also like to highlight is, in addition to all of the new development that we're doing, the Housing Authority has been working with numerous developers throughout Southern Nevada by providing project-based vouchers to help assist them with their projects. Two I would really like to highlight is the Blind Center and Sunrise Haven, where those are permanent supportive housing developments, 100% permanent supportive housing. And we all know how difficult that is to get projects like that funded. So we were able to provide 50 vouchers to Sunrise Haven, which is serving individuals with, mental issues, could be drugs, what have you. So basically every unit in that development has a voucher. And the Blind Center, we provided 51 vouchers for the 100 units that they built. And Sunrise Haven has already had their grand opening. They're filling it up. And the Blind Center should be having their grand opening shortly. In addition to those, like I said, we offered another 250 vouchers to other nonprofit developers throughout Southern Nevada. So thank you for your time.
Terrific. Thank you, Frank. Finally, we'll hear from Katie Coleman, Director of Communications for Nevada Rural Housing, who draws on a rich background in strategic communications, marketing, and community outreach to help connect rural Nevadans with the housing tools and resources they need. Katie?
There we go. All right. Thank you very much. I will try to clip along here and get everybody on with their day, but thank you for having me. Thank you, Maurice and Amanda, for inviting Nevada Rural to participate in this presentation. I'll start with our mission because that's really what guides us. It is to promote, provide, and finance affordable housing opportunities for all rural Nevadans. And we do that through a couple ways: development, rental assistance, home ownership programs, and that really gives us a full view of the housing landscape. So I'm going to walk through a quick overview of some of our work and then share some examples and really dig into some key challenges and opportunities that we're seeing. All right, we've been around since 1973, a few years. At that, we operate in every county except for cities with populations over 150,000. So kind of confusing, but we're kind of everywhere. Every single county except for cities with populations over 150,000. We are technically called an instrumentality of local government and a political subdivision of the state of Nevada. And that's important to kind of point out. We're not a private nonprofit. We are not a state agency. We are actually governed by a board appointed by Nevada Association of Counties and the Nevada League of Cities. And so our structure really is designed specifically to respond to rural housing needs. And so when we talk about impact, and that's what we're really trying to show here, we're talking about scale and consistency over that time since 1973. Since 2006, when we kicked off our home ownership programs, we financed 2.5 billion. We like to say that's billion with a B in mortgages. On the rental side, we assist about 1,300 renters annually. And through development, we've invested about 200 million and built or preserved more than 800 units. And we have hundreds more in the pipeline. And I'll talk about that in a moment. And what I really love about this view is it's not theoretical impact, right? All of our agencies talk about numbers, and I love how everyone here has talked about who we're impacting. And that's what this does. These are families, seniors, veterans, our working rural Nevada families who are behind these numbers. All right, so a few program details here. We operate across both rental assistance and home ownership. On the rental side, Hillary, thank you for putting together that little grid. I think that's awesome, and hopefully we can circulate that as well to this group. We administer housing choice vouchers, including VASH for veterans. We provide emergency and security deposit assistance, and again, about 1,300 vouchers. Switching over to the home ownership side, we offer multiple programs for both first-time and repeat borrowers. That's an important note. These programs are not only for first-time borrowers. There are options in there for those who want to get back into borrowing a home or buying a home or even refinancing. And it's important to note that we're not just funding loans here. We're really focused on creating sustainable home ownership. Check out buyruralnv.org. That's where all of our homeownership program details are. Call us, text us, email us anytime for additional details. We love to come out and talk to groups about what we've got going on in the homeownership space. There's something for kind of everyone. So really exciting stuff going on there. Speaking of homeownership sustainability, the Keys to the Missing Middle program is an exciting statewide, rural-wide home buyer education platform. And really we're focused on those working households who may not see that clear path to home ownership. It's kind of an interesting time, but there are a lot of folks still getting into their homes. This program is designed to meet people where they are. We have online education, in person, and everything kind of in between. And what we do with this education is we walk through the full journey, kind of from the beginning, evaluating credit to financial readiness to understanding what down payment assistance programs look like, and then what to expect as a homeowner after you get into that house. What makes this program really effective is it doesn't just stop at the education. It connects participants to our participating lenders, gets them on that next step, and that's really a critical piece in getting them into home ownership. Very important, this program is in partnership and made possible by Nevada Housing Coalition and funding made possible by the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco. So we're really excited to be partnering on homebuyer education, so important. We are also a housing developer. We engage in ground-up development, rehabilitation, preservation, acquisition. We have currently 18 multifamily properties across rural Nevada with 11 projects in process. So 18 properties up until now and about 11 more projects in process over the next couple of years. Lots of growth. Again, 800 units either built or preserved, and those 500 additional units coming on through 2027. Wanted to make a note here about scale. 800 doors, another 500 coming on. It might not sound like a lot, but taking into consideration the scale, 800 at a total population of rural Nevadans of about 200,000 compared to a 2.4 million person population in the Las Vegas metro area. The point being that 500 units, 800 units, this is transformational supply activity here. Even 50, 100 units in a local rural housing market can make a huge shift and a huge difference in that availability. Almost all of our tenant households are very low income, under that 50% AMI, and most of our units do have some deep form of rental subsidy. And as many of us know who are doing this and in this biz, this housing would not otherwise exist without this intentional intervention, and especially and particularly in rural Nevada. So this is Crestmore Apartments in Douglas County, a recent acquisition by Nevada Rural. And it's a beautiful property, and it really helps demonstrate what coordinated funding, local partnerships can really accomplish. And these developments are super thoughtful in terms of how they're integrated into their communities and who they're serving. Folks who need stable housing to remain in their workplace or workforce or age in place. And this is Pioche Apartments. This is in Lincoln County. How many people have been to Pioche? Better go check it out. We're having a grand opening in May. So more news coming on that. But this is 32 units. Again, 32 units in Lincoln County, just as important as 300 units in a major metro area or more. Adding just those little bits of units can be transformational, stabilizes the community, and provides options that simply did not exist before. They were not there. Again, rural housing is not about density sometimes. It's really about right-sized fit and sustainability in that community. Pioche is a great example of that. And these projects don't happen easily or often enough in rural Nevada, but we are really working on that. But it helps to zoom out kind of and look at some challenges and opportunities. So kind of outlined here, and we'll send all these out, obviously. On the housing development and supply side of things, some of the key challenges that we're faced with in rural Nevada and most of us across the state, the demand outpaces the supply, construction, infrastructure, regulatory costs makes these pencils harder to pencil, or these projects harder to pencil. And in rural Nevada, some of those costs are exponentially more just because of the remote nature of those locations. Federal resources aren't keeping up, widening that gap. Local land policies, permitting timelines, that can impact feasibility, but there are opportunities and we're seeing them in action. There's real momentum at the state level. AB 540, that bipartisan bill showing that support and that commitment from the state at all levels. It was a big darn deal and it'll continue to move us forward. Local tools like density flexibility, smaller lots, faster permitting really can help us reduce costs. And I wanted to make note that in AB 540, not sure if everyone here knew, you probably did since we've been on so many of these webinars, the local fee reimbursement fund as part of the Attainable Housing Fund is a game changer for local municipalities getting some of those fees back into their coffers. So that's really important to note. And public incentives, working together with communities on land contributions, fee waivers, trust funds obviously can help make these projects viable. And in rural Nevada, exploring those kinds of tools is particularly important. So I like the word alignment a lot. I've been using it a lot in our discussions around aligning state, local policy, development partnerships. It takes all of that kind of alignment to make a lot of this happen. Okay, shifting gears. Housing choice vouchers. Hillary and Frank did a wonderful job digging into kind of what that is looking like in those areas. A lot of agencies like ours are operating in HAP shortfall, housing assistance payments shortfall. So we have the vouchers, but we don't have the funding behind those vouchers sometimes. And we're in that position right now. So the demand is there, but we don't have the resources to get folks using those vouchers and into units. And then in terms of supply, rising rents are making, program costs particularly difficult, straining funding, limited rental supply, especially in rural areas, makes lease up very difficult. If we have the funding, even getting out there with a voucher on the street to find what they need in rural is particularly difficult at times. Landlord participation, Hillary mentioned Reno having a fantastic landlord approach. I always love to think about that and look back at that as some really good examples, but that kind of prevents some of this lease up happening. We're obviously up against some stigma in the larger marketplace with vouchers, but helping get the education and information out about what this program does is really important. Advocating for more vouchers, absolutely, but advocating for the funding to support those vouchers has to go hand in hand. And that's one of the key opportunities that we have. Strengthening landlord partnerships helps expand that participation. Project-based vouchers in terms of new development can really help connect that rental assistance with development and help with some of that financing. And then making sure that folks know where they need to go. We have a lot of folks call us and we say, hey, you gotta go to Frank's shop, you gotta go to Hillary's shop. And so helping clients and tenants get to where they need to go is key in all of that. I'm almost done, I promise. And then in homeownership and down payment assistance, some of the challenges and opportunities. Certainly funding restricts how many borrowers we can serve. And then going into the larger marketplace, of course, rising home prices, interest rates, we are all understanding the impact there. In rural Nevada, starter home inventory is really tough. It's kind of a tough issue everywhere, but in rural Nevada, those 1,200 square foot starter homes are few and far between, and that's what people really need from an affordability standpoint. Buyer understanding and awareness of programs. We do our darndest to get every piece of information we can out there. In rural Nevada, our channels look a lot different. And so we have to think very strategically and be kind of scrappy in terms of getting these programs out to all of those corners of the state. In terms of key opportunities, AB 540, again, major game changer, especially in the home ownership side of things, helping expand access. We, alongside with the Nevada Housing Division, are operating the Essential Worker Homeownership Program. That's our Rural Rocks program. So when you go check out our website, that is where that funding came from. So thank you, thank you, thank you, AB 540 and the governor and everyone who is working on that. Other opportunities in home ownership, employer assisted home ownership programs and opportunities is something that we're very, very interested in. Spread the word, having an employer potentially invest and input some of their resources to help their employees either be recruited, retained, etc. And that really contributes to that workforce stability piece. Our lenders and our agents are conduits to these programs. Our home buyers have to work with a program approved lender to get into the mortgage, and having strong partnerships with them really is key to all of this. So if you know a lender who doesn't know about our program, send them our way. And down payment assistance, obviously, it bridges that gap, that upfront cost barrier for those looking to get into homeownership. Homeownership builds generational wealth. It just provides different kinds of access to life's plans. And so we're doing everything we can to stay online with as many options as possible. So to close, certainly the need for affordable options on the full spectrum in rural communities continues to grow and continues to thrive because we're always looking ahead. We have strong tools in place, but each of them really depends on that right level of support. So again, state investment, local policy, partnerships, that alignment is where we see real results on the rural front in particular. And if you hear of a way to partner or get some more info and tell a friend, please come chat with us, because that's how we do our work best, is through relationships. So
Thank you, Katie. And that's all the time we have today. I want to thank all of our presenters and our audience. And Amanda, anything further before we close?
Nope, I just want to say thank you. We will be sharing a link to this recording and a copy of the presentations, and we hope to see you next month at our April Lunch and Learn, where we will welcome CSH to talk about their work and a soon-to-be released supportive housing toolkit. So thank you, everyone. Hope you have a great afternoon.